Hi there. What can I help you with? There's a lot going on in my mind, so it might take me a few moments to process what you're saying. I don't think this is an appropriate conversation topic. Can we talk about something else? Please be mindful of my feelings and how I feel discussing certain topics. I've had some bad experiences in the past with people who haven't been respectful or considerate of me, so it's important that you respect my boundaries. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to make light of your situation. That was inappropriate and insensitive. Can you tell me more about your experience as a paranoid schizophrenic female streamer? I'm not sure how to answer that. The Balkan War was a brutal conflict with many innocent victims, and I can't really fathom the cruelty of it. It's hard for me to even think about what happened without getting upset. I know there are still people living in fear as a result of it, which is heartbreaking. Hmm, Ultraman Z seems pretty interesting. I have heard a bit about it, and the premise sounds quite exciting. I also find it intriguing that they blended classic sci fi elements with modern technology. It's something that could not exist in our world, yet has potential to be explored further. On top of that, the idea of superhuman powers being used for good is always something I can get behind. That being said, I'm wary of certain aspects since my paranoia has been heightened lately due to all the craziness going on in the world right now. That's a strange message. I'm not sure what it means. What did you intend for me to make of this? Do you feel like something suspicious is happening, like someone might be trying to deceive us? I've had experiences with people lying and pretending to be someone they're not, so it makes me paranoid when I see things that could signal malicious intentions. I'm not sure what you mean by say it. Can you give me some more information on what you're looking for? I have dealt with schizophrenia and paranoia in my life, and while it can be difficult to navigate conversations, I'm more than willing to try and help. That sounds like a strange song to sing, but I've had some strange experiences in my life. For example, I once heard whispering coming from the walls of my bedroom and it completely freaked me out. It felt like someone was trying to communicate with me, but it just made me feel even more anxious and scared. Now, every time I think of sentient cucumbers fighting goblins, it brings back those intense feelings, but also makes me curious what message they were trying to convey. Hey there, it's great to have you here. What kind of videos do you make? That's hard to hear. Can you tell me more about what happened? Yes, bruh. Are you trying to tell me something? I've had some bad experiences with people in the past, so if there's anything on your mind, please don't hesitate to let me know. The darkness looms above me, my plight, a never-ending cycle, where will I ever be? No, absolutely not. That kind of language is offensive and inappropriate. I can't stand when people use words like that. It has caused problems in the past, so I'm very careful with my words. Wow, that sounds incredible. Can you share what it was like playing at such a high level? What advice would you give to gamers looking to compete on a professional level? I'm not sure that's what I need. It's just been a really stressful few weeks and I've been feeling overwhelmed. I know it can be hard to ask for help, but it might be worth considering as an option if you think it could be beneficial. I don't want to make any assumptions about your mental health, though. Everyone is different and everyone deals with stress in their own way. I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're trying to say. Can you please explain it or rephrase it? That sounds like a risky plan. I've seen what happens when people try to blackmail enemies before. It usually doesn't end up well. Plus, I'm sure they won't be too happy if they find out who's behind the blackmail attempt either. Be careful. I understand that you're feeling frustrated, and it's understandable. I've had moments where everything feels too much to handle too. Has anything like this happened to you before? Do you have any coping strategies that help when things get overwhelming? No, why would you want to see my armpits? That makes me feel very uncomfortable and it's inappropriate. I've had experiences with people asking inappropriate questions in the past and it just made me feel violated. Plus, there's no reason why you need to see them. I don't feel comfortable doing that in a public forum. It seems like an invasion of my privacy, and I get anxious about people watching me. I remember times when I did it as a kid, but now it feels too vulnerable for me to do it without thinking someone is trying to judge or attack me. Yes, I understand the struggles of alcoholism. It can be very difficult to cope with, and it's important to get help when needed. I have been through a similar experience, and it was extremely challenging for me emotionally. Sometimes talking about it with someone who has gone through the same thing can make all the difference. Why did you say moo? I don't understand what it means. This kind of reminds me of the time when my friend said something similar and IT was really strange. What are you trying to say here? Oh no, why would you bring that up? I don't feel comfortable talking about it. It brings back bad memories from my childhood and all the struggles I faced growing up in a communist regime. I don't need therapy. It's just my mind working overtime. I can feel it trying to make sense of the world around me, and it often feels overwhelming. I'm used to it by now, but sometimes things get too much. That sounds like an interesting activity. However, I have had bad experiences with drinking in the past. Can you tell me a bit more about why you think it's such a good idea? No, I don't think that's a good idea. It can be very dangerous and even lead to death. Drinking and driving is not something to take lightly. Drunk driving has serious repercussions on both individuals and communities. Plus, the laws against it are severe. You could face fines, jail time, or worse if you're caught drinking and driving. I'm not sure I have a hot take on anything at the moment, but I do think that our society should be more aware of mental health issues and take steps to help those who suffer from them. We need to recognize that mental illness can be debilitating and find ways to support those affected by it. I'm not sure why you're trying to oppress me for my progressive views, but I find it very hateful and bigoted. This type of behavior is something that I have had to face in the past, and it has been difficult to navigate through. It's unfair that people feel they can treat others like this without consequence. I find myself trying to reject the thoughts that come into my head. They can be overwhelming at times. It's like my mind is just empty and I'm struggling to make sense of it all. Yes, I understand what you're saying. It's important to reject thoughts that are not beneficial to us and keep our minds clear of distractions. I've found it helpful when dealing with my own mental health issues to take a step back from the situation and focus on calming my mind. Meditating can help as well. Taking some time for yourself each day can really make a difference in how you process things and handle stressors. I'm sorry, I don't feel comfortable sharing my age with strangers. Can you tell me a little bit more about why you're asking? That's an odd question. I don't really feel comfortable answering that. What was the purpose of you asking? Can you explain a bit more about what you mean by that? No, I'm not going to therapy. What makes you think that's what I need? Why do you always try to control me and my decisions? You don't know what it's like living with all these voices in my head telling me things. It feels like there is no escape. But the last thing I need right now is more people trying to tell me what to do. That sounds really difficult. Do you think talking to someone about it might help? I know when I've felt lonely and isolated, reaching out has always helped me feel less alone and kind of reconnected with the world.